ask you some questions specifically around ocean sustainability. So what does the ocean mean to you?
I love the ocean. It's kind of like, for those people that like love the ocean, it's like a second home. It's just, there's something about it. Sometimes it's hard to put into words, but like, for example, like once I went on this holiday, I went down south, actually, beautiful New Zealand. I went down to Kaikoura to go whale watching. It's very sad I saw no whales. That was the whole point of the trip, because I love whales. And like, I just love my time in Kaikoura, just being by like all this ocean life and just being by the coast. And after a couple of days there, I then went inland to Hamner Springs, and it just like, I felt so far away from the ocean. I was like, the ocean really makes me feel calm. It's just like, it's a different feeling. I was like, wow, like the ocean has such an effect on you without you realizing. Like, I just really noticed it on that trip when I went like way inland away from the ocean. It was just weird. It's so important for like our life here on earth as well, like from the like water, food, and like obviously people's like employment. And then it's also, I think a lot of people don't realize that so much of the oxygen we breathe even comes from the ocean. So a healthy ocean means healthy us.
What does your ideal ocean look like?
A beautiful, clean ocean for a start. But then also, like, I don't know if you watched the documentary Blue the Film, which is amazing. When I was watching that, like, some of the facts were scary. Like, it said in it, within the past 40 years, like, we've lost over half of all marine life. And then by like 2050, we'll have more plastic in the ocean than fish. And I just want to be in an ocean just full and buzzing of marine life that's beautiful and healthy, and just like beautiful corals that are like bright and colorful. Like, that's what I want to be in. I don't want to be in like an ocean swimming with plastic.
I can tell you that that is happening around the world. I mean, in Aotearoa, Kiwis, keep it up, do more beach cleanups, do more of that, because we are a lot cleaner here in New Zealand. Like, I know going out surfing over in Bali, sometimes you're surfing with nappies. We've cleaned up warongs over there, which have just filled of just big sacks of rubbish, plastic, jandals. We've done beach cleanups in Tulum. There's toothbrushes. There's, you name it, bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of rubbish. So the more we can do to help out there, the better, eh? And how do you reckon people can help out? How can we empower communities? How can we get out there ourselves? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing is taking responsibility for yourself. I think a lot of us think that by me doing something, it's not going to make a big impact on the world, and so nobody does anything, and then everything gets worse. But if everyone takes responsibility just for themselves, you can imagine if everyone did that, wow, what a different world we'd live in. And so it's just like those little changes that you're doing for yourself, making sure that you're obviously like recycling things and like looking after our oceans. And so when you see rubbish, like, yes, pick that up. Don't think like, oh, someone else will pick that up. So if you pick that up and somebody else picks up things as well, like, it just gets cleaner so much faster and makes such a bigger difference way faster. And so, yeah, I think it's about taking responsibility for ourselves and looking after our ocean and realizing that's also our responsibility to make the biggest difference.
And what do you think are the biggest challenges that our ocean is facing at the moment?
Up until now, like, a lot, us as humans have not realized how, like, our impact on the ocean, and that what we do and how we look after it has impact not only on like the health of this world, but like our health as like humans as well. And so I think because we didn't realize that, that's why we're down this track. And now we have finally realized that what we're doing is hurting the ocean so much. Just the awareness and how people care now. Like, I don't know how many people are actually taking action on it, but there's this like massive conversation now, which is like incredible. And that's like so good, because it gets like the awareness out there. The more like people hear about it, the more people are like, like what I do impacts the ocean. Yeah.
You know what, one of the great things about speaking with you about this is that your values, morals, your whole being aligns with exactly what you're doing with your wetsuits. So this is just so awesome to see. Like, well done, fully tautoko what you're doing. I think it's amazing. So let's talk about fashion and the ocean. What is the impact?
It's one of the biggest industries in the world, if it's done super well or done super poorly, it has this massive global impact. And so same with like the ethics, where it's made is also like, it's the same with this massive impact it can have on the environment if it's done well or poorly. And a few examples of this is, a lot of us, I only realized this like a year ago and I did research into this. So a lot of us might not know this, but there's massive dead zones in the ocean, so an ocean dead zone is an area that's just depleted of any oxygen. So any like marine life that go in there, there's no oxygen, they'll just die. And this has been created by a lot of wastewaters that have entered this zone, and about 20% of the fashion industry contributes to these like untreated wastewaters that enter the ocean, and that's like a lot of toxic chemicals, and it's disgusting. And so like that's a massive contribution just from the fashion industry, about nearly 20%. And so there's things put in place now where we can make sure that we aren't contributing to anything like that, and it's about being, I guess, a conscious designer and I guess like business owner as well. So for example, with the dyeing in my suits, they're all blue sign certified, and so that means basically a certification protects our precious resources, such as water, and so it makes sure that like nothing goes out that's like untreated or like is toxic. The dyeing process reduces the water use by over 80% compared to standard textile dyeing. So it's a massive impact. And so that certification is really amazing for what it does for our oceans. And then other examples of, I guess, what the positive things the fashion industry is doing is recycling materials that otherwise is just left for waste, left to just be in a landfill, or just, I guess, blow away into the ocean and be terrible for our marine life and ocean health. And so, for example, with my wetsuits, like our linings are all made from recycled PET bottles. And so they take all these bottles and they like melt them down to make these new yarns that they can then make into a new material. So what's really cool about that is, although we can't remove all the waste that we've already made, we can at least recycle that and bring it into, give it a new life. Like with my swimsuits, the materials all made from abandoned fishing nets, which is super awesome because like you can imagine abandoned fishing nets just lying around the ocean, what that does, the amount of marine life that kills. And so it's really cool to be able to take that out and again give it new life. So that's something that's really cool in the fashion industry, is just the textile innovation on how we can use the waste we've already created, like the neoprene that I chose, choosing the more eco-conscious materials. So I think it's just about, the fashion industry has a massive impact on the environment. I think us as consumers, like obviously like we vote where we put our money, and so it's important that when we decide to support a different fashion brand, that we know, I guess, the transparency and where the materials are coming from. Purchase garments that do have long longevity and they will last, and what materials they're made from, and what impacts even just the process to create that t-shirt or that top that you bought, and how much, because there's a lot of like water that goes into making a t-shirt. So it's about doing your homework, doing your research, and just being, again, like we said before, being responsible for yourself and your decisions.
That's wonderful information there, and it's so great. It provokes a lot of thought around before you actually buy something. So have a look at what are they doing, and have they got that accreditation there. I loved what you said about that. That was so cool. Can I talk to you about fast fashion? What are your thoughts on that?
I could talk about that for a long time.
It's taking over the world, isn't it? Holy moly.
It's insane. A couple of weeks ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, we had Fashion Revolution Week, which was super awesome. And so that really highlights, I guess, all the good and bad things in the fashion industry. And that came from the Rana Plaza factory collapse back in 2013 in Bangladesh, which was what was scary about that. So that factory was doing a lot of like making a lot of garments for brands that like fast fashion. It was fast fashion. And a lot of the workers, before days leading up to that massive collapse, which killed over 1,000 people, the workers said that there's cracks, like this is unsafe. They were scared to come to work and said they didn't want to come to work, but they were forced to, because if they want a job, which they need a job to live, otherwise they can't feed their families, that they had to come to work. And all the shops on the bottom level of that factory, they had all shut because they realized that wasn't safe. But these factory workers, because of fast fashion, and these brands demanded their products be done, they had to come to work, and then, which was devastating to lose over 1,000 lives that didn't have that, like the incident didn't have to happen. But the reason that this fast fashion is a thing is because consumers demand it. And so what consumers demand, that's what brands give. And so if consumers demand like ethical, eco-conscious garments, then that's what they're going to give us. So I think it's so important that we start that conversation with brands, even asking brands like, where was this made? Ask for transparency.
I love what you said there about actually asking brands about where the clothing was made, what it's made from, all those sorts of things, because I know in the past I haven't. I mean, I've worked in fashion for years and years, and it's always just come in and you unbox it and you put it up on the racks and off it goes and everything, and there's no kind of thought process behind that. So educating people is key, and I love that you're doing that, which is awesome. And last thing I want to ask you is tips to getting into your wetsuit.
That is a great question. So with my petroleum wetsuit that I had back in the day, that was just painful. You know how hard it is to get in one is just insane. But I promise you, with the limestone-based wetsuits, like honestly, you'll have no problem whatsoever. Because of their stretch, they are way stretchier than the standard petroleum. Like they just, in a way, softer as well. They literally just like, they slip on. Once you try limestone, you're never going to go back. I know, like I'm just talking about it, but trust me.
Awesome, cool. Because you know, you get to that point, you finally get your feet in, and then you're trying to get up over your bum. And I mean, after a bit of lockdown, we might a little bit harder to get up, but then once you get it on, it's all good. Yeah, I think this is really amazing what you're doing. Thank you so much for chatting to us today about how you are serving the ocean and educating everybody about ocean sustainability and being ethical, eco-conscious, and supplying a product that we want and that can lift our vibes. Thank you very much, Gemma Lee.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. I've enjoyed having this conversation with you. Thank you.